Minecraft. Omnipotent. Omnipotent is how you feel when you teleport with an enderpearl. It's like you're traveling with the gods. In today's episode of Minecraft Exploration and Tactics, it's all about enderpearls. Pearls of wisdom, the science and physics of enderpearls. Let's get started. For the first experiment with enderpearls I'd like to do, there's another object in the game that you can throw like enderpearls, which is snowballs. And I think possibly enderpearls and snowballs follow the same trajectory, and so in order to determine that, I'm going to aim this snowball right at the horizon in front of me, and I see that it lands kind of right before this little dip, and so now I'm going to try the same thing with an enderpearl and see if the enderpearl lands in the same spot. So we're going to teleport over there. And I believe... no, it looks like I ended up a shorter distance. I think the snowball landed over here, whereas I landed over here. And so I'm actually curious to try that one more time. One other thing to notice is that I have now taken 2.5 hearts of damage. I specifically didn't have my food bars, so I could show this off. But basically, each time you teleport with an enderpearl, it takes some kind of like hits against you. But I'm going to try this one more time. This time I'll try throwing it a little bit higher and just see what happens. So I'm just going to aim up here, but then not move. So a snowball traveled way over into the grass over there, it looked like. And if I throw the enderpearl... well, that time it did look like I appeared to travel about the same distance as the snowball. And once again I took 2.5 hearts of damage, and so I think you always take 2.5 hearts perhaps. But in any case, you can see that you throw an enderpearl, and wherever it lands, you teleport to that location. And it seems like you're facing the same direction. I was facing west as the sun is setting. I guess I should try it facing in another direction. So let me get some enderpearls, and we'll try that real quick. So this time I'm kind of facing diagonally, mostly to the east. Once again, I'll try throwing the snowball just to get a sense of where it lands. And now I'll throw the enderpearl. And it does seem like the enderpearl was actually following exactly the same trajectory. And so... and I'm still facing the same direction. And so it does seem like enderpearls are kind of just like snowballs, and so that's useful to know because snowballs are very easy to come by, and so if you are trying to aim an enderpearl and you happen to have snowballs in your inventory, you could always try throwing the snowballs first to get a sense of exactly where it's going to go if you need help in the aiming so that you don't waste your precious, precious enderpearls, which I've already used 3 of. By the way, I got more snowballs by creating a little snow golem who I have locked up over here, and so I can always go digging at his feet in order to accumulate more snowballs. In any case, the sun's going down, so let me sleep off this night, and then we'll do a whole bunch more experiments, because I have a big long list. So previously, when I threw an enderpearl, I ended up facing the same direction, but what happens if I throw it and then go running off in this direction? When I finally land, will I still be facing the way from when I threw it, or the current direction that I was heading when it finally landed? So let's find that out. I'll throw it, and I'll start going this way. And sure enough, I'm still headed in this direction, but now I've landed over here. And so it seems like it preserves your current orientation. So basically, I started walking this way, and so I was walking this way, and so facing this way. The enderpearl hit the ground over here, and so I teleported over here, but I was still facing this direction. So it seems like you preserve your own orientation, and it's only the location where you're currently standing that you immediately get teleported to the new location. I think when you throw an enderpearl, you end up teleporting to wherever it stops, and it stops when it hits a solid object, but there's a number of things that I'm not sure if they count as solid objects. For example, this purple haze in the nether portal, can I throw an enderpearl right through it? Let's find out. Nope. Apparently it actually hits the purple haze in the ender portal, and so these haze blocks are one of the things that can stop an enderpearl, as opposed to something that the enderpearl will just fly right through. So that's one interesting experiment. Let's also try it with flowing water and flowing lava next. I've set up some flowing water here. I just put a little scaffolding up and put a source block here, and so the water is flowing down. I already know that you can throw snowballs through this, and it makes a nice little sploosh noise. But now let's try the same thing, throwing an enderpearl through. And yes, just like the snowball, the enderpearl went right on through, and I teleported over here. So you can definitely throw enderpearls through flowing water. And now I wonder about still water blocks like the ocean. And so, if I grab another enderpearl, and as you can see, I still have plenty to experiment with, and I just throw it into the ocean, will I end up landing on the floor of the ocean, kind of like down in the deeps? I think possibly that's what's going to happen. And so I'm going to throw it over here, and we'll see if I end up at the bottom of the water, at the bottom of the ocean down here, or if I end up right on the surface. Yep, I am definitely on the ocean floor. And so that could actually be a useful way if you needed to get kind of up and down from the ocean surface. For example, yeah, right down there, you can see that there is a place that's kind of lit below the ocean surface. And there was also, yeah, you can see it kind of under the water over here, I hope. But basically, there were some pumpkins below the water surface over here, and I had made kind of like a way to climb up out of the ocean because there was a ravine down there. And so presumably I could aim an ender pearl down and just throw it as a quick way to get down there and not have to worry about swimming up and down and suffocating. So that's actually a useful thing to know. It seems like ender pearls can see right through the water, and so you can throw them right through the water. And so that could be a quick way to get out of the ocean. I'm going to try the same thing now that I did over here with water with lava, which obviously will be a bit more dangerous. And I guess this is also going to make some cobblestone and make a mess. I didn't think this through, probably. Let's do that. Yes, that's going to make a bit of a mess. Yeah, that's not too bad. I can live with that. All right, let's grab some ender pearls, or at least one. I've been grabbing them one at a time because I'm really afraid that I'm accidentally going to die in lava somehow and lose all of my stuff. So I've been trying to be careful so I don't lose all my ender pearls. But now we're going to try to throw the ender pearl through the lava. And it seems like it traveled just through the lava as well. And I don't have a deep pool of lava to try the same thing that I tried with the ocean, but I presume that that's going to work the same way as well. And so if you did have a deep pool of lava, I imagine you could throw the ender pearl into it and you would end up at the bottom of the lava pool. But that seems like it has less interesting practical consequences, so I'm not going to do much more with trying to test that. Let's get rid of all of that ugly lava that's still around there, and I'll clean up that cobblestone later. Okay. So we've ascertained that ender pearls can travel through liquids, but they can't go through the portal. Let's see what we want to do next. For my next test, I want to see what happens when you throw an ender pearl against a tall horizontal surface. So I am basically going to throw it against the wall of this pillar. I've got 5 blocks of dirt, and then 5 blocks of sand, 5 blocks of cobble, and 5 blocks of gravel. Mostly just to make it visually obvious where I'm going to be landing. But for example, I can throw a snowball up there into the gravel, and so if I throw an ender pearl there, will I teleport to there? Will the pearl fall down and I'll land in the water? Will I end up on top? I'm not exactly sure, so let's find out. And yes, it seems like I kind of teleport right into the side of that block at the same height where the ender pearl hit, and then I appear there. I'm hanging in midair, and so I immediately fell in the ocean, which is also the reason that I built this over here in the ocean, because I didn't want to take fall damage. So it seems like if you throw a pearl against a wall, effectively, you'll end up just appearing right next to that wall. And so the next thing I want to do then is to see what happens if I throw a pearl up against the underneath side of a surface. So let me construct one of those for a moment. Okay, so I've constructed a tiny 3x3 platform right up here. And now I'm curious, if I am below that platform and I throw a pearl right up here onto the ceiling, basically, will I hit my head on the ceiling and fall back down, or will I somehow end up kind of in the block and end up appearing above this platform? I'm not sure, so let's find out. Okay, it did seem almost like, and there was a nice chance to see the little purple particles that you get when you teleport with an ender pearl. It did seem like I was kind of in the block for just a moment before I fell back out. And so I'm not sure if there's any kind of way to exploit that. But one thing that I want to try next is what happens if I throw it to somewhere where there's not enough room for Minecraft Steve to be standing. So let me go ahead and construct that next, and you'll see what I mean. Alright, so here's what I'm really curious about. I've got a little kind of dirt hole over here that is basically 2 by 2 by 1 high. And so obviously I can throw, for example, a snowball right into there. And if I do that with an ender pearl, what's going to happen? Am I going to end up inside of this thing being smothered? Will I get pushed up? Will I get pushed to a side? Will I fall out the bottom? I'm not sure, but we're about to find out. Let's throw this ender pearl. Oh, wow! That was cool. It seemed like I was stuck inside, and then all of a sudden I got pushed back to the outside, and I think I fell off of the side as opposed to falling out the bottom. I'm actually going to go replay the video a second just to see what happened. Or possibly, let's just do another experiment and make this bigger. Yeah, I'm going to get some more dirt blocks and make this area bigger and see if we can actually see myself kind of being pushed out of these blocks. So let's check that out. Okay, this is just as before, but now this thing is 4 deep, and so if I throw it against the back wall... Ooh! This time, I seem to have come out of this wall. And so I think possibly at some point in the past I've read about the fact that if you end up kind of being stuck inside of a block, Minecraft will try to push your character out to kind of like the nearest airspace. And so possibly that's what's trying to happen here. I get stuck in the block over on the wall over there, and it notices that I could go 1 or 2 squares that way, and it just pushes my character out that way. So I'm not sure that's entirely what happened. I also need to go and take a look. I'm not sure if I took suffocation damage in addition to the 2.5 hearts of enderpearl damage when I first ended up inside that block. So let me check that real quick. Okay, and it's definitely clear to me that in both of those cases, I took a half of heart of suffocation damage after taking the 2.5 hearts of enderpearl teleportation damage, and so that's interesting. Speaking of damage, I'm not wearing any armor. Is it possible to have armor absorb any of the enderpearl damage? Let's find that out as well. Okay, so I am now wearing a crisp new suit of iron armor that I just crafted, so none of it has taken any durability damage. And I have full hearts. And so now, if I throw this ender pearl, will I take 2.5 hearts of damage, and will any of my armor take any damage? Let's find out. Alright, I teleported over here. I did take 2.5 hearts of damage, and none of the armor took any damage. Okay, so that's useful to know. And so normal armor does not do anything in terms of the ender pearl damage, but I'm also curious about enchanted armor, because enchanted armor I think can turn other types of damage into armor durability, and so I'm going to swap out my armor for some of this enchanted armor, and we're going to try the same experiment. So I'll see you guys in a moment. Okay, so basically the same experiment as before. This time I have these enchanted pieces of armor on my person. I'm down 2.5 hearts already, but let's try throwing the pearl. I appear to have taken less than 2.5 hearts. Oh, but it still didn't do any armor durability damage. Okay, that's very interesting. That time I only took 2 hearts. So possibly enchantments like protection can lessen the damage that you take from enderpearl teleportation. Just to like triple check that, I'm going to go ahead and eat some food and get my hearts all the way back up to 100% and try that experiment one more time because I want to make sure I didn't miss anything there. But that's really good, and that also, I haven't done other experiments with kind of Protection 1 armor to understand its other effects, but I think possibly it basically takes other forms of damage and absorbs it in the armor, or possibly causes that to damage the armor durability. And in any case, in just a moment here, I'll be back up to full hearts, and then I'm going to try this once again with one more pearl and see if I take 2 or 2.5 hearts of damage. Okay, I'm at full hearts. Yep, I only took 2 hearts of damage, and the armor still has all of its full durability. Okay, so that's very interesting. So it seems like if you wanted to use pearls to get around, if you were wearing good armor that had enchantments, it might mean that you'll take less damage from just the teleportation itself. Whoa, an Enderman just teleported. There he is. I've just been out here doing experiments, and I guess this guy touched some water underground, and he doesn't like the sunlight, and so he's teleporting all away, and he's over there. Oops, did I just look at him? No. Whew. Alright, and it seems like he's teleporting away. Apparently, he was interested in my experiments. Okay, perhaps not, but that was still very startling. In any case, the next experiment will be to see how we can use ender pearls to save us from death. So I've been living right here under the northern arch for quite a while, but I've never actually climbed up to the top of it until now. And the reason I'm up here is to see what would happen if I fall off. Well, okay, I know what happens if I fall off. I'm going to die because this is a really high height to be falling from. But what I'm curious about is if I can fall off the edge, and as I'm falling, throw an ender pearl at the ground, and instead I'll teleport to the ground and take 2.5 hearts of damage before I manage to fall all the way to the ground. And I'm not sure how easy or difficult this is going to be, but I'm just going to take a shot at it, and we'll see how it goes. So let me get the ender pearl ready. Geronimo! Throw it! Darn it. I'm not sure if I didn't throw it early enough or if it doesn't travel fast enough. I guess I'll just have to try that again. Okay, I'm back again, and this time I'm going to try throwing it sooner before I hit the ground. So here goes again. Throwing! Oh, wow! It seems like it hit something in between. Did it hit the wall before I fell? I'm going to have to go rewatch that video. After doing subsequent experiments and editing this video, I think I know what just happened. I think the pearl hit myself. I threw it down below me and then was falling fast enough that I caught up and the pearl hit me, and that's where I teleported to. We'll see a little bit later what happens when you throw pearls at mobs. Alright, I'm going to try this one more time. This time I'm going to throw the ender pearl kind of farther off, and I'm going to throw it before I fall. And so I think it'll be in the air, and then I'll be falling, and we'll see if I teleport before I reach the ground. So here goes nothing. Throwing, running, falling! Oh, and this time I did! Ooh, and I seem to have teleported into a block that I was suffocating in. But it's definitely the case, I could see it as I was falling, that the ender pearl falls at kind of a slow speed, and I started falling faster and faster, and so possibly it's the case that I just ended up hitting the ground before the ender pearl did in the other cases. I'm not entirely sure. And so, in any case, it does seem like possibly you could use the ender pearl to rescue you from a fall, but you would have to throw it early or time it really well. In any case, it doesn't seem like it's a practical way to save you from fall damage in that respect. Alright, on to more experiments. We've already determined that ender pearls travel straight through water, but what about lily pads? Just out of curiosity, snowballs seem to break on lily pads, so I expect the ender pearl will also teleport me onto the lily pad, as opposed to the ocean floor below, but let's try. Interesting, and once again, I did seem to teleport to this location, but it seems when I teleported there, I'm not sure if I was kind of slightly in the lily pad block and I ended up to the side of it, or if I just kind of fell off the side, but in any case, I ended up not teleporting to exactly where I wanted to go. And that brings up other questions in terms of other types of blocks that we might try to use ender pearls on. So for example, what about half slabs or glass or glowstone or different blocks like those? So I'm going to try a few of those out as well. I'm not sure how accurate my throwing has to be here, but let's see if I can teleport onto a wooden half slab. Yep, it appears that I can. Can I teleport onto glowstone? Yep, that also seems to work just fine. And even though it will probably seem like a waste of ender pearls, I'm also curious about glass, and so let's try to teleport onto a piece of glass. Yes, alright, and so all these solid blocks, even though they have various different properties, like being glass blocks or being half slabs, it seems like you can throw an ender pearl onto them and teleport there. All of a sudden my frame rate has gone down, so I need to fix that, and I will see you guys again in a moment. How about minecarts and momentum? Let me show you what I've set up here. I've got a little course that I can hop in the minecart, and then at certain times I'll try to throw it down, throw a snowball or an ender pearl down one of these lanes, and basically see, since I'm going to be traveling this way, if any of my momentum gets imparted onto the snowball or ender pearl that I throw, or if it ends up just going straight down the lane. So basically I'm going to try to throw it, I think, straight down this dirt that's between the two sands, and see if it ends up traveling straight down that way, or if it ends up start traveling this way. And so, in a moment, if that wasn't clear from my own description, hopefully you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So let's put down the minecart, get my snowball ready. Oops. Alright. I couldn't tell from there because I didn't throw it as far as I wanted to. But the idea is, just as I reach this point, I'm going to throw it down and see if it travels directly down this way or if it ends up traveling somewhere over here. But let me get more snowballs. I'm trying it with snowballs first because I want to practice and not waste my ender pearls. Okay, here we go again. It does appear that that was flying straight, as opposed to taking any of my momentum. And so I'm going to try it once more. That one, yeah, seemed to travel directly over the sand that time. And so, as a final try, I will try it with an ender pearl. See you in a moment. Okay, here we go. Ooh! Look at that! I did take my 2.5 hearts of damage, but I didn't teleport. I'm still in the minecart. What happens if I step out? And I'm still in the same location. Okay, that's interesting. So it seems like possibly teleportation doesn't work if you're inside a minecart. We're going to have to try this with a boat as well. But let me just grab another pearl and go hop inside the minecart. This was an unexpected find. I wasn't even thinking about testing it from simply that perspective. Let me just get in the... Oops. I just teleported into the minecart because I right-clicked on it. And when you right-click on a thing, like a minecart, you'll also throw the snowball, for example. And so I just threw away my snowball. And so I need to get into the minecart and then throw the pearl. Alright, so I wasted a pearl. Oops. Alright, these things happen. Fortunately, we have lots of pearls socked away. I've still got, looks like about 40 of them left. And so when I'm not holding the pearl, I will right-click on the minecart. Now I'm inside the minecart, and so let's just throw the pearl any old where. Yep, and I took the damage, but I'm still inside the minecart. So that is very interesting. Alright, let's go try this with a boat. Okay, so I'm in a boat. I have no reason to believe that land versus water or moving versus not moving should really matter. But let's try throwing the ender pearl and see if we travel anywhere or if we stay in the boat. Yep, it almost seems like you jump over there for just a moment, and then all of a sudden the game realizes, oh wait, you're still in the boat, and it just keeps you in the boat. So that is pretty interesting. Wow. I can hop back out and hop back in. Yep. Alright, so it seems like if you're in a boat or inside a minecart, you cannot throw ender pearls to teleport. I guess I could try throwing it high into the air and then getting out of the boat and see if I teleport that way. Yeah, let's check that real quick. Okay, so for this experiment, I'm going to throw the pearl while I'm in the boat, then I'm going to hop out of the boat while it's in the air. So here goes nothing. Throwing the pearl, hopping out of the boat. And yes, so then it does work. So it seems to be on the instance of contact at the moment when the ender pearl actually hits something. If you're in a boat or a minecart at that moment, then you don't teleport. If you're not in the if you're not in the minecart or the boat at that moment, then you will teleport. And so long as I'm here, I have some pumpkins and some watermelons that have grown. And so I'll use my little automated farm to go ahead and harvest them. Because everyone likes hearing that little poppity-pop-pop sound whenever you pick up a bunch of items. Alright, let's go on to more ender pearl experiments. I know what you're thinking. All of this so-called science with ender pearls is pretty interesting, but can you hit a cow with an ender pearl? I don't know if ender pearls can crash into mobs or not. This cow's in the water, and so this is a good place to test it. Yes, and it seemed like the cow actually took some damage as well. I don't remember if I throw a snowball at a cow, will he also make that red flashing animation and sound like he's getting hurt? Let me test it with a snowball. I'm not sure if this does more damage than a snowball or how much damage that might do. In any case, I definitely hit him and teleported over to him. I had chosen a cow because it was convenient, but I imagine it'll be the same for any mob. Okay, and I don't think snowballs damage cows or other mobs other than blazes. And in any case, the cow did make that kind of damage animation, and so possibly throwing an ender pearl at a mob won't hurt the mob, but will give them kind of like knock back and hit effect. And so that is very interesting. I don't know if that might be useful in any way, but in any case, it seems like ender pearls can collide with mobs, and so you could teleport to the location of a mob, and so that's interesting. Got a few more things on the list. How am I doing in terms of my ender pearls? We've only gone through about half of them so far, so that's happy. One thing I'm curious about is how high you can throw ender pearls. I presume it's the same as snowballs. I'm going to use a snowball for kind of my first piece of aim. That looks like that might have been crashing kind of into the side of the structure, and so I'm going to throw this one a little bit higher and hope to land on top of it. Oops! Bummer. I wasn't expecting that. I think I hit the bottom of the half slab that was hanging off the side, and I fell right off of the side of it. And so I did not get a chance to do the experiment I wanted to do there. Let's run back over there. I'm pretty sure the ender pearl I was carrying should still be on the ground, and so hopefully we can pick that up and try it once more. Yep, so my remaining items from when I died are still on the ground over here. I wasn't holding that much, and as you've seen, at the beginning of this video, I think I was only at level 1, and I've lost all of those levels at this point from all the deaths that I've taken. But in general, this is obviously a business where you have to be very careful, and so I'm not sure if I should try to throw a higher arc and get over the whole thing, or if I should get a lower arc and try to go through. I'm going to try a higher arc and just try to go over the whole thing and see if I can land on top of the structure. Here goes nothing. Ooh, this has a shot. Oh, except for it went all the way across. Darn it. Okay. You can throw them pretty high, though. I think this thing is between 20 and 25 tall, and so if I manage to throw it over, you can throw it about 30. But once again, the kind of overall accuracy, I should have thrown the snowball first, because basically I tried to do this, and so I could have used that to test it. The overall accuracy, if you're not carrying kind of extra snowballs or something to test first, is still very difficult. So overall, I'm not sure how valuable the ender pearls are for just kind of like getting up and down in terms of everyday circumstances. Obviously, just assuming that you had a bunch of them on you even in the first place. I think it's more likely to be useful in either emergency circumstances, for example, if you just fell into a pit of mobs and just wanted a quick way out, or if you're doing kind of like adventure maps and different kinds of things as you wanted to get over to places without having to build a bridge where you're going to get shot off by skeletons and stuff like that. Indeed, although we haven't actually had a chance to use it in a real game, we do have a strategy on the direct fire Race for the Wool map that involves an ender pearl in order to help get to one of the wolves. Alright. I have done a ton of experiments with ender pearls today. I went through, I think about a couple stacks of them. Perhaps you have ideas for more experiments. I have a couple more, but not as interesting as some of the ones that I've done so far, and I think this might be good enough for one video already. And so if you have other exciting experiments that you'd like to do with ender pearls, I do have a stash of them. And so I'm willing to try some interesting ones on camera, or perhaps you've done some of your own. But in any case, I hope that this was informative, and I hope perhaps it gives you some other ideas about fun things you can do with ender pearls. In any case, I'm going to continue to practice up on the ender farm to see if I can manage to kill more mobs, especially taking into account the fact that the enderman hit so hard, and now that we're in 1.1, the armor doesn't protect as well. I definitely need to use more of this armor that has these Protection 1 enhancements on it. Enchantments, because it does seem like that's going to help in terms of protecting against the mobs. In any case, this is a good place to call it a day. For some reason, my frame rate has gone down again, so I will see you guys next time. Hope you're having a good day.